All right, boys. We tried to record this yesterday, but it had no fucking audio. So we're doing it again. I respect your guys' intelligence enough to know that you are reading what is on the screen. We're going to be fixing every single division in the UFC, starting out at flyweight, going all the way up to heavyweight. Starting off in the flyweight division. This division's pretty good. This is a good division. So, in terms of like how they're matchmaking it, Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira. That's the matchup that most people want to see. Maybe Manel Cap should have fought for the belt. We're grasping at straws here. Put Pantoja on ice. Let him wait out for when he gets a title shot. Whenever he's ready to come back from that devastating injury. Horiguchi versus Cop. Why is this in the Apex? Dude, oh my god, it's so annoying. But whatever. Good matchup nonetheless. The only matchup that I want to make inside this division that hasn't already been made near the top of the division is Brandon Royval versus Loner Kavanaugh. I think that's the next logical matchup for both of those guys.
I completely agree with everything you said because this was an easy one considering most of them are already matched up. It's just a pretty easy division to sort out. This is one of the few divisions they're actually doing good with right now.
Yeah. Yeah, not too much to say for this one. They got most of it correct already. Boom! Bantamweight division. Okay. Sean O'Malley versus Jan. Yeah, get that shit out of here. It's going to be Jan versus Merab 3. That's the fight to make. They both had a masterclass against each other. They need a third fight. Now, Sean O'Malley versus Umnar. The reason I have all these ice cubes here is because you put that entire matchup on ice. If Merab wins, have him sit out until this fight happens, okay? Merab was very active in 2025. It proved to not do him justice in terms of his performance. So what we're going to do, if he beats Piotr Jan, which I don't think he will, make that fight. If Piotr Jan wins, do Sean O'Malley versus Piotr Jan. And then, honestly, maybe give Merab a rematch with Umar.
Could be. The thing I'd like to add there, I feel like if the UFC makes that fight, they want that to be a title fight. I really don't see them making that their number one contender fight.
Merab versus Umar? Or Sean O'Malley versus Umar?
O'Malley versus Umar. I feel like if Merab wins, Umar gets the title shot. If Jan wins, O'Malley gets the title shot.
See, I don't think Umar has proved that he should get a rematch with Merab. That's the thing. So
I mean, he had a close fight, and he got 2 wins since. Like, Bautista win was pretty good. Figgy win's not great,
but he didn't look outstanding in either of those 2 fights, and I don't know. I would like to. That's what I would like to see personally, and then also another fight right outside of the title picture: Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Batista. Dos. Who am I kidding? 2. It's been an entire decade since their first fight. I want to see him again because Corey Sandhagen, he's kind of stayed the same. Maybe gotten a little bit worse, maybe declined a little bit. Mario Batista, he has gotten much better since their first fight. He's definitely not going to get flying triangled out cold. And then the winner of that can then go on to have a number 1 contenders fight. Overall, this division, I would say, is not too bad to matchmake. There's definitely way worse ones coming up to try to matchmake, but very interesting at the top of the division now that Merab is no longer the champion. I love Merab. He's on my wall over there, but he did make the division a little bit more, a little bit less competitive when Jan didn't masterclass him. Anyway, what's the question? The featherweight division? Yeah. How do you not do Volk versus Lopes 3? I mean, this kid is... No, I'm kidding, guys. It's going to be Volk versus Evloev. That's the clear matchup to make. Movsar Evloev beats Lerone Murphy. Not a robbery, by the way. So, give him the title shot versus Volk. There's no excuse. We want to see it. We want to see Volk versus Islam 0.5. Then, why have you matched up Yair Rodriguez with... I'm too sleepy, bro. I don't fucking know, bro. Because Lerone Murphy is the only guy Yair Rodriguez is gonna fight. Yair's not fighting anybody with KO power. He's not fighting anybody with any kind of wrestling, and he's the only guy who doesn't have either of those things. We're gonna be matching them two up, and then I have Aljo as a stand-in. I don't know who is gonna win between Aljo and Yusuf Zalal, but I think the winner of that fight should fight Gene Silva, and then winner of that fight then gets a title shot. Boom!
Yeah, I mean that this division, it's really easy to sort out. I just feel like the UFC is gonna make the wrong decision on it.
Yeah,
But
I
like
don't think
overall, it's a pretty easy division to sort out.
bar Evla versus Volk, because unless they're just like brain dead, they're gonna make that fight for probably like September, maybe October in Abu Dhabi, but I would say probably September. I don't think Evlov has that kind of pull to where he can bring, he can call his shots and say, I want to fight in Abu Dhabi. But I don't think any of these fights are going to get made because Dana Baldy White is like, oh, what's the question? Yeah, Lopes 3. Next up, in the lightweight division, put Charles on ice, put Arman on ice for now. Ilya Topuria is sliming out Justin Gaethje. It's literally a hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby ass matchup. So Ilya Topuria is still going to be the champ. There's 0% chance that Justin Gaethje wins that fight. I don't care how many edits I see of him. Ilya Topuria is sliming him out cold in 2 minutes. You could make Ilya versus Arman also on the White House card. So like main event, Ilya versus Arman. Co-main event, Ilya versus Justin Gaethje. You could do that. But no, don't. A lot of people are saying make Arman versus Charles too. Don't do that because then there's a chance that Arman loses to Charles and we lose out on Ilya versus Arman. Nobody wants to see Ilya versus Charles too. The exact same thing is going to happen. Exact same thing's going to happen. We want to see Ilya versus a new face, a new name, a new stylistic matchup. That's what you do with the title picture.
The way I see Armin Oliveira 2 getting made is if Ilya vacates after Justin. I think that's the. I mean, I know we were just like giving Oliveira title shots. I mean, I guess he deserves this one if he gets it for that. But I feel like that would be the fight to make there.
I completely agree with that. But assuming Ilya stays at lightweight, which I would like to see him do, that's how you matchmake the division. And that's how the division is more interesting. The division is better with Ilya in it. Then, Max Holloway versus Benoit Saint Denis. I think this is a nice bounce back fight for Max. And then, BSD still has a chance to win, I guess, if Max slips on a banana peel, tears his ACL, breaks his hand, gets CTE more than he already has, and then also breaks both of his feet and then loses a split decision robbery to Benoit. And then Benoit will have a really big name. But overall, this is a bounce-back fight for Holloway. But I think it's a BMF type of fight to make. This is like a BMF number one contender fight. It would be a banger. I think Max Holloway would do Benoit the same way he did Calvin Kattar. Then we got Padilla Falcon Badilov versus Dan Hooker. Can't grapple a rapist off his ma. They got beef, and they both are coming off of, kind of bad losses. They're probably going to be looking to come back around the same time. Now, I think they're going to want to give Patty, maybe an easier fight. I don't know. I see this as such a logical fight to make because there is the beef. They're matched up well. They're both coming off losses, and they're at similar rankings in the division. So, honestly, that's a banger fight. Put it on a co-main event, on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Boom.
What I would just say about this, I feel like this is the UFC's last option to get money out of the Dan Hooker name right now.
That's true.
Book him against anyone else.
It's a shitter fight. Nobody's watching that.
Yeah, because he's on such a bad downfall. This is the last option to get money out of his name, just because of the beef that's already there.
Yeah, if you have him fight if you have him fight Bloody Quillen Sale killed after he slimes out Dariush. I'm dreading that. I love Quillen Sale killed, but I feel bad. If you have him fight Quillen Sale killed, it's not really. Or somebody like that, it's just not going to be the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a Manuel Torres or something. I just don't. I still think they would try to get this money grab off of the Hooker name
Or
still.
like a roofie or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, this is one of the hardest divisions to match make. So, just because there's so many top contenders, and a lot of them, yeah, a lot of them are already booked, so we're kind of assuming outcomes of fights for this. I am gonna explain what happens if the other guy wins some of these fights, but Islam versus Ian Gary. That's the easiest fight to make in the entire UFC right now. Islam versus Ian Gary. It's like a McGregor versus Habib type of matchup with the Dagestan versus Ireland. You have that narrative you can make with it. If the UFC doesn't make this, they are like, they're stupid. Number one contender versus the champ. Very easy. This is so. What you are seeing right now is the JDM beats Prates timeline. Because if Prates beats JDM, okay, you give him a title shot. That's a much easier division to matchmake. But if JDM wins, I'd say have him fight Michael Morales. JDM is manly enough to balance out Morales' zestiness, so I think that fight matches up well. Then if Bilal and Sean Brady both win their next fights, which I think they will do, I think Bilal's going to beat Bonfim, and I think Brady's going to beat Buckley, just based on what we've seen from all four of those guys.
Buckley's
I'd
big
like
gun
to see the
defense.
rematch. I'd like to see the rematch between them. Usman is kind of like the odd man out, and I guess maybe in this division, you give him Prates, and then if Bonfim or Buckley beats Bilal or Brady, I would say just match up the winners of those two fights, which I'm predicting to be Bilal and Brady, which is why they're on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, this division is really hard to sort out. I mean, because like they don't have a clear number one contender, so you never
What?
know who to
What are you
use.
talking about? Yes, they do. It's Ian Gary.
I don't know. I mean, like Morales could be out there. I mean, he knocked out the former. Like
I
we know after JDM, if Sean Brady never fought Morales, I think he would be next to the title shot right now.
Yeah, you're right.
And then he knocked him out, and then Morales knocked him out in under a round. Like he beat the number one contender in under a round. Like he could debatably be just as deserving as Ian Gary.
Yeah, but let's put it like this. Bilal was ranked higher than Sean Brady. Ian Gary beat him. I know it was less impressive, but still. He cut a really good promo. He has a much bigger name, and then they have the narrative that they can do with it. It's Ian Gary. Like, for all of
And then
those
I mean,
reasons.
and then who knows? Maybe Usman gets the title shot. You never know what they're gonna do. But
Yeah, I don't know.
This
I,
was definitely the hardest division matchmaking.
I think there were some harder ones, to be honest. But I would say give Usman, like... I want to see Usman fight. Like, maybe you could give Usman Morales, and then, like, the winner of that could
Yeah.
maybe fight JDM. I don't know. Dude, Usman is like the odd man out in this division. He's not the dark horse because I don't think he really is,
Well,
beating
and
any of these
Leon.
guys. But he,
We don't have a
he's
fight schedule for Leon here.
yeah, okay. In the middleweight division,
Maybe against Jorge, something like
so
that.
we're
Leon.
gonna do. The reason we have Hamzat versus Strickland on the screen, even though it was already match made, is because Hamzat is probably gonna move up to light heavyweight, or even if he stays at middleweight, there's no like clear number one contender for him to fight because by the time he beats Sean Strickland, Imavov will have been out for like a year. So you can't really do Hamzat versus Imavov in like January 2027 when Imavov hasn't fought since 2025. Like it's not gonna. You can't really do that. So we'd be predicting outcomes of fights that haven't even been booked yet. So we got Hamzat versus Strickland on the screen. DDP versus Imavov. This should be on Newark. Like I don't know why they didn't just match make this for Newark. This fight should have already like been made months ago. But if you could get this fight like at a similar time to Hamzat versus Strickland, that would be awesome. So then, the winner of that could fight the winner of Hamzat versus Strickland. Or the winner of that could just
Or you
fight
just
for a
call it
vacant belt when
vacant.
Hamzat moves up. And then Izzy versus Joe Pyfer. This video, when this video comes out, that fight should be later today. We think Izzy's probably going to win that. But if Joe Pyfer wins, I'd like to see either of them fight Kyle Baralho. And I don't know if they're going to do that with Izzy because I don't know if that's really a big enough fight, but that's what I would like to see. I think Izzy should have gone up to light heavyweight years ago, but honestly, it's kind of tricky what to do with the winner of that. It's kind of tricky what to do with Kyle, so I just matched them up together. Boom!
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Drickus and Mavet fight definitely should have been on Newark. It would make it a good card. And like just having like all four of them in the same place, it would definitely add some good like viewership to the UFC that week.
Bro,
But
listen, I never said I should fight Demavov. I said he should fight me, bro. Completely different. Also, I do want to make the point that Izzy versus Joe Pyfer should have been on the White House card. There's no justification for it being in Seattle and fucking Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins being on the White House, or like Diego Lopez being on the White House. Like, why is he on
Izzy
the
didn't
White
want to fight
House?
at the White House.
It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Huh?
Izzy said he didn't want to fight at the White House.
Okay, but if they offered it to him, he's not going to say no. You know? Light heavyweight division. We got Yuri versus Oldberg on the screen because there's no number one contender after those guys. You know what I mean? Like, so we've made the number one contender matchup: Big Ank versus Big Murzakanov.
Assuming he beats Costa.
Yeah, assuming he beats Costa. Make that fight. That fight screams Abu Dhabi. That is the most Abu Dhabi fight I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. And then like early 2027, because Yuri's gonna have to sit out because nobody deserves a title shot after Yuri slimes out Oldberg. So, Ank versus Murzakanov in Abu Dhabi in October. Then early 2027, they make them turn around because they don't like either of those fucking guys. Have them get slimed out by Yuri. Early 2027. When Oldberg loses to Yuri in like 2 weeks' time, who should he fight? That's a great question that I don't really have an answer for right now because I'm not really thinking about that. Carlos Oldberg almost never crosses my mind. You know, Yuri's basically the champ in my head right now. But then also, I want to see after Jan Blachowicz, crafty decision win versus Bogdan Guskov in Newark. I want to see him fight Khalil Roundtree. Khalil has to take some time off, bro. He got colded by Yuri. So just have him take some time off, have him fight Jan Blachowicz.
He's been off since October.
Huh?
Like by the time Jan comes back, you will have been off for a long time. I feel like Roundtree's probably going to fight sooner. I think they're going to match up Roundtree and Ank.
You could do. Nah, they can't do that. I think they should do. They could also do instead of this. Roundtree versus Blachowicz. I think that's just a good fight. You could also do Oldberg after he gets slimed out by Yuri versus Khalil Roundtree. That'd be good too. And then Jan Blachowicz can just retire. Or like if Bogdan Guskov beats him, then you could do like Guskov versus Oldberg. You could do that too. And then have Khalil Roundtree fight like...
Yeah, I mean, this division's just hard because it's the opposite of the welterweight division, just because it's shit. Like the welterweights, because there's so many good names there and you don't like know who to throw in. This one is just because it's shit. There's just no...
Yeah, after Pereira, there's pretty much nobody. Anyway, besides Yuri. We love Yuri. Anyway, in the heavyweight division, speaking of shit, this is the Pereira beats Gane timeline. I'll briefly cover the Gane beats Pereira timeline. But we're going to do Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira. That's obvious. Undisputed versus interim. Tom Aspinall is not going to pull a John Jones, and He's not going to switch the roles and run from Pereira. It's not going to happen. I say do Gane versus Blades. Finally, the prophecy has been fulfilled. He's going to stop ducking him, and Curtis Blades is going to slime him out for ducking him for so many years. I'm kidding. I'd also kind of like to see Pavlovich versus the Rizzler, Rizvan Guniev. I think that would be good. And this is assuming Blades beats Hokut as well.
Which I think he will.
I think he will as well. Now, if
I
Gane
would
beats
like
Pereira,
to.
hold on,
I would just
I'm
like to
gonna
add
quickly cover this.
if Gane beats Pereira. Okay.
If Gane beats Pereira, Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane 2, that's easy. Pereira's going to retire. Then you do like. Dude, I don't even know.
You do Blades versus Waldo
Maybe Blades
instead
versus
of Gane.
Volkov 2.
Nah, you
It's
do
been a
Blades
long
versus
time
Waldo.
since they fought. Assuming Volkov, actually, whether Volkov loses or wins against Waldo, I think you could do that. And then you do like Waldo versus Guniev, maybe. I don't know. That's a weird timeline to match make the rest of the division.
Yeah, I mean, so I was gonna say the Pereira thing. Like, I think we both agree that he's definitely retiring if he loses. Like, I don't see him fighting
No,
any of like
he's not gonna take a contender fight at heavyweight.
the only person I could see him fighting if he loses is Jones.
Yeah, but Jones ain't coming back. Jones is not coming back.
I know. I'm just saying it's the only person I could say.
Yeah, the heavyweight division, like the light heavyweight division, is hard to match make because it's shit. If Pereira wins, it's a lot easier, and I think you just do this. But anyway, unless Brandon has something to add,
I'm all good here.
that's gonna do it for the video, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. See y'all boys later, and peace.